Lesson 8 for August 17 through to 23, The Least of These, read by Dr. Percy Harold. Friday, August 23. From the book Thoughts from the Mount of Blessing, page 42, we read, Christ tears away the wall of partition, the self-love, the dividing prejudice of nationality, and teaches a love for all the human family. He lifts men from the narrow circle that their selfishness prescribes. He abolishes all territorial lines and artificial distinctions of society. He makes no difference between the neighbours and strangers, friends and enemies. He teaches us to look upon every needy soul as our neighbour and the world as our field. And from the same book, page 136 and 137, the standard of the Golden Rule is the true standard of Christianity. Anything short of it is a deception. A religion that leads men to place a low estimate upon human beings, whom Christ has esteemed as such value as to give himself for them. A religion that would lead us to be careless of human needs, sufferings, or rights, is a spurious religion. In slighting the claims of the poor, the suffering, and the sinful, we are proving ourselves traitors to Christ. It is because men take upon themselves the name of Christ, while in life they deny his character, that Christianity has so little power in the world. And that brings us to our 3 discussion questions for this week. 1. Which is your favourite of the passages studied this week, and why? 2. Look at what Ellen White wrote about how a faith that would lead us to be careless of human needs, sufferings, or rights is a spurious religion. Why must we be careful to avoid the easy trap of thinking that because we have the truth, which we do, nothing else matters? 3. How do the verses in Thursday's study show us what having the truth also entails? So to summarize this week's lesson, Jesus' teachings set out a different way of living for those who are citizens and agents of the kingdom of God. Building on the foundation of the Old Testament scriptures, he echoed and broadened the focus on caring for the poor and oppressed, emphasizing that his followers will live as people of compassion and mercy while they wait for his return. Inside Story. Our mission story this week is titled Doctor Demands Abortion, and it's by Andrew McChesney of Adventist Mission. Dina, a 60-year-old grandmother living in the Soviet Union, prayed every morning, Lord, send me someone who I can tell about you. One day, Dina noticed a pregnant woman as she waited at the bus stop in Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky. Are you expecting? She asked. The woman, Lyuda Savstina, began to weep. She was expecting a son, but the physician had insisted that she have an abortion. The doctor said that if I try to have this child, he will be stillborn, and I will die, she said. Dina comforted the woman and invited her to visit her house church on Sabbath. Lyuda had never attended church, but agreed to go. On Sabbath, Dina and Lyuda joined 12 other church members listening to Pastor Yakov Kulikov preach about God's faithfulness. Afterward, Lyuda shared her dilemma with the pastor. He encouraged her to trust God, and he prayed for her. On Monday, Lyuda told the doctor that she would keep the baby. "Have you gone mad?" the doctor said. When he couldn't sway Lyuda, he summoned her husband, Vladimir. Later at home, Vladimir scolded Lyuda. "Are you so selfish that you are willing to die and leave your daughter without a mother?" he said. "I will keep this baby," Lyuda replied. "I trust in God." "Who is this God that you were talking about?" he asked. "There is no God." The next Sabbath, Lyuda returned to church, and the next Sabbath. Soon she was baptized. The doctor turned out to be wrong. The baby was born alive, and Lyuda did not die. Little Sergei, however, was sickly and suffered seizures. One day, Sergei suffered a severe seizure. His breathing stopped for 10 seconds, 20 seconds. His lips turned blue. Lyuda fell to her knees, crying, "Lord, you gave life to this boy. Please don't take it away." Her husband rushed into the room. "Come here and pray," Lyuda told him. "We need your faith too." Vladimir sank to his knees. "Lord, I believe," he cried. At that moment, the baby began to breathe. The whole family became Adventist, and Sergei, now in his 40s, remains a faithful church member to this day, said Pastor Kulikov, 66, who retired after 41 years of ministry and lives in Podolsk, south of Moscow. Why did this family become Adventist? The reason is that an elderly woman prayed every morning, "Lord, send someone who I can lead to you today," said Pastor Kulikov, pictured left. "There is power in this prayer," he said. You have been listening to a reading of the Adult Sabbath School Bible Study Guide by Dr. Percy Harold from Queensland, Australia. This service is brought to you by Hope Channel, the Sabbath School Department, and Christian Services for the Blind. Remember, God is always faithful.